Yo, what is up, party people? NBA live stream recap, and I do want to say, shout out to the Spectrum Internet guy. Came out today, personal appointment, hand checked the internet. He did something with the wires, and we're good.
He said,
knock on wood.
Beep, bop.
He said, did you turn it off? And he did it.
Did you turn it off and back on again?
So no, we're good. We're good. So we got a full stream. No early cuts. I'm knocking on wood right now, but feeling good. But a lot of good games today. We got some games. Got an OT game finishing up right now. Obviously a massive NBA slate. A couple of I feel like every time I talk about the initial recaps of the games, I think about the Pistons. And we'll get there.
I mean, that's like the most just bog standard game we had tonight was like Celtics blowing out the Pistons.
Yeah.
Kind of
I don't know. I think I had like flashbacks to last season when we played the Celtics super close, and it's all right. We're young. Let's just say after every Pistons loss. Hello, yo, what's up?
12 and a good defense.
Yeah. I think I more specifically was thinking about Cade's performance, from a fantasy perspective. I mean, those games will happen for guys. I don't know how easy it is to buy low on players, but
I think
it takes
buying
a stretch.
low. Yeah, I think specifically for big players, it takes a fat stretch. I think guys like Cade, it's like no one's gonna sell him after one game.
Yeah, I think his buy low portion was like the early part of the season where he was good but not breakout. And I think because he's had that breakout stretch, he probably doesn't fall in. I just want to throw it out there just because I love Cade and would love to have him on every roster.
I know.
But let's pull up the recaps, and in chat, let us know if you guys have any questions. I'm a Grizzlies fan, and I joined my draft late. Picked up Ja. Let's go. Nice.
12 seconds left on my.
Dude, I love Ja. I got Ja. Ja was going points league drafts. He was going so late. I mean, there was like Cat going before Ja in a points league. A lot of those like second round guards. Man, I got to go Ja Halley in that locked on bowl league.
Yep.
And I'm loving it.
Start.
2-1 right now, but it's okay. It's all right.
Same.
It was that the Ja injury. We're not going to sit here and just talk about our losses in our fantasy leagues.
I was about to go off too, but it's like no one cares about that. So what am I doing here?
I'm trying to offer Jamal Murray and Campaign. I do like trying to move Campaign selling high for sure for Poole and KPJ. The nice thing is, I think Campaign, honestly, before we even answer this question, 13 team head to head, 13 team.
13 team. It's like a round robin of matchups. Weird. Do you play like league average? It's like the odd team play against the league average. I don't know how those odd teams work. I never joined those kind of leagues.
It also could be a typo.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a typo, then that's not.
No. I mean, I don't think it changes our answer much. I will say that Campaign's one of those guys who's like not the worst like waiver stream guy, but obviously season long, everyone gets it behind no typo. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. I guess the NBA season's it's like so damn long that like a bye week isn't like crazy to have occasionally.
No, it's interesting. Like, and then the team, the fantasy manager just gets to like go on holiday or something, like gone for the week.
Dude, you don't have to worry about not starting your active players.
Every
night. Yeah. Okay. No, to answer the question, I think I usually tend to lean for these when I don't think the best player in the deal is that much better. So here, I mean, I love this move. I like KPJ and Poole, and I like Jamal Murray, and I think he'll be better than he was to start the season. But I mean, would you be surprised if KPJ and Jamal Murray are like identical from like a fantasy output perspective at the end of the season? I wouldn't be.
No, yeah, I like it. I like Kevin Porter Jr. right now more than Jamal Murray, and I think even if Jamal Murray is better, I think he's like you said, he's still pretty comparable to KPJ, and then obviously Jordan Poole long term is going to be better than Campaign. So if you can get that deal done, I like that a lot.
Yeah. I got Mikal Bridges, got 72. Yeah, Mikal, dude, and we talked about this. I'm not trying to like butter our own saxophone or whatever phrases you can make up. I was just trying to do a goofy one. But yeah, he was a buy low guy for us. And it wasn't necessarily like he was having like awful performances, but he's one of those guys who like is just going to play massive minutes for the Suns team. And like, yes, he's not going to give you like crazy scoring, but he'll give you games like this. And obviously this is insane, but like the kind of massive defensive stat games with really solid scoring and peripherals. Like he just is gonna play like. I mean, I think he's been playing like 36 minutes a night, which I don't know if that'll like maintain the whole season, but I mean, it's just.
I mean,
they need him to.
I think it probably will. He did that like last year. He was a high minutes guy.
Yeah, I think
he's
he was
he's
close
one
to
of the
like
guys
34,
that's like.
but yeah.
I think he's got like one of the longest active streaks as well of playing games or starting games or something.
Dude,
like
and
that.
I just love him. Like he's just one of those guys I love. I don't know if it was the like high school Will defensive player of the year that maybe wasn't the best scorer in the world.
Nothing better than a good like athletic 3-and-D. It's not like just a bog standard 3-and-D. It's a 3-and-D
right.
that can be,
athletic.
And
he needs like solid offensively. Like not like great. Like not gonna like be crazy night in and night out, but like he'll do his things. He's got long enough arms where he can kind of just do those in the lane floaters. But keep the questions coming in the chat. We'd love to talk. But we're gonna pull up the games tonight, and I hate to start here because I know he's your favorite player. But Luka Magic, and I will say the funny thing about Luka Magic is in a game where they scored 87 points and he had probably like his worst shooting game, he still gets you 24, 6, and 6. Like from a fantasy perspective. And the defensive stats too. I mean, Luka usually doesn't give you those, but they've been a lot better this year.
He's averaging 2 steals a game this year. Like,
it's crazy.
I think even last year was a sneaky like steal and a half, closer to guy, but like
he's just not who you think about defensively, but like stats is all you care about. So like if he's able to provide those in some capacity with what he does night in and night out. He's
not going to be a guy that like you think of, clamping down, slapping the floor. He's locked up one-on-one and ISO. He's going to be like hiding on the corner guy and then just kind of cheating in and helping on drives and kind of getting a swipe. Like that's just what he is. But yeah, like you said, 24, 6, and 6, like awful game for Luka. 24, 6, and 6.
Right.
3 steals,
it's just
blocks,
the volume. I mean, 9 for 29 and 7 free throws. And bad games for Luka are just amazing. Yo, what's up? Is Lauri Markkanen worth trading for? Yeah, I mean, we've got him in the kind of clickbait title. Lauri top 30. I mean, he's close to top 30 right now on a fantasy points per game basis and just had another big night tonight, scoring specifically. I think he had like 8 boards too, no assists. But yeah, I think Lauri's one of those guys where he's like, if the Lauri manager is like, I need to sell him high, then like I'd be, if you can get him for anywhere close to where he was drafted, I 100% think Lauri is a guy you should trade for. But I do think that at this point, he's just been so good, so consistently. I know he's had a couple like 14-point games with like, limited peripherals, but I think he's a hard guy to buy because I do think that at this point in the season, we're kind of 10 games in and, maybe the manager doesn't think he'll maintain it. And even if he doesn't, I mean, he's like top 40 right now, fantasy points per game. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you want him on your team. Like he is I do think he'll be like this good. There's no reason, like maybe not 30 a game, right? But like, I think he will be a 20 plus, like 22-9 guy for the year.
Yeah.
But I mean, his stock's pretty high already. So good luck seeing what you can get for him. But I think he will. If you have someone else that thinks that they're selling high on him, maybe try to shop that if they don't think he's going to continue to do this, because I think he will.
Yeah. 100%. Real quick, I'll just kind of point out, I know massive game for Dinwiddie. No Christian Wood tonight. And yeah, I think the thing about the Mavs is like, I mean, offensively too, when you've got guys like, Powell and Bullock and Kleber that are going to play big minutes, like there is opportunity for Dinwiddie to have these kind of games. But yeah, I don't think there's much to talk about on the Mavs side. So I'll kind of flip over here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything you wanted to touch on? I mean, a pretty lackluster game for all the secondary guys, but obviously Christian Wood's one of the bigger secondary guys that.
Yeah. No, I mean, just a bad game. I think they shot like really bad. They shot like 20-ish% or something from 3. Something horrendous. So it's a bad game overall. Ever. Would you trade Wood for Gordon? Christian Wood for Eric Gordon? I probably wouldn't. I think I'd rather have Christian Wood. I like him.
You think he means Aaron?
Long-term.
I think either way, you probably would lean.
Yeah, either way, I lean Christian Wood. Eric Gordon was just in my head because I was just looking at that round.
I haven't been playing him recently. I mean, he's been playing pretty big minutes. The manager for Lauri offered me Lauri for DeRozan and Murray. Me selling, yeah, I would not do that. I don't think I think I'd rather have both of those guys than Lauri, and I like Lauri a lot.
And DeJounte Murray,
Yeah,
bro.
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's a
I think
little.
you're I think you're giving the two best players in the deal. Like I think Lauri like will have pretty close numbers to DeRozan, but DeRozan, even though he's not been as crazy as he was last season, like when the season ends, he's gonna be doing what Lauri does. I know the profiles aren't crazy for him, but
Yeah, DeRozan, like Lauri will have more 15-6 games than DeRozan will have 4.
yeah, it's just to it. I mean, I think like, hey, there's a world where end of the season you're like, okay, Lauri kept this up and he did outscore DeRozan, but like two of those players are like top 3 round caliber points league guys. And even in a category league, like I know Lauri probably offers more than somebody like DeRozan who's not great peripheral, but like Murray's really good for a cat league for a guard.
Yeah. Aaron. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I should have thought Aaron, but no. I would still lean Christian Wood. I think he's gonna be when he's playing. I think he'll be more consistent than Aaron. Honestly.
Are you guys high on Poku? He's a block and offensive board machine. I have been playing some Poku. He's been seeing some pretty solid minutes, but yeah, I think he's one. I don't know if I would say like I'm high on him, like from the perspective of I think he has upside to be even better than like some of his recent like pretty solid performances. But I think it wouldn't shock me if he just plays solid minutes for OKC throughout the season and has games like that.
Yeah, I'm just not. I'm trying to avoid Oklahoma City supporting cast all year. There's just so many players. They literally go like 12
They're
deep.
starting to play some of the young guys too, like not a ton.
They go like 12 deep when they're healthy. Like it's all so much of the usage is just pushed to Shea, and then it goes like Giddy Dort, and then it's just Trinkle.
Yeah.
So sporadic, depends on matchup and injuries, and it's just there's always so much going on. I do not feel safe about consistency for anybody but Shea and maybe even Giddy. So it's like Shea and Giddy I like obviously, but like Poku, Basley, Dort, both Jalen Williams, Trey Mann, Aaron Wiggins, Muscala, JRE. Like there's just so many guys. I just don't feel good about it.
Yep.
I like what Poku can do if he has those minutes, but I just don't believe that he can get that usage.
And it wouldn't like he's had, I know like the past 3 games he's been 31, 20, 34. Like it wouldn't be a shocker at all if at the end of the season he's a 20, 22, 24 minute guy like we've seen from him. So I do agree with that kind of side of it.
Yeah, I have nothing against Poku. I think when he plays, he can't, like you said, he can be a walk and offensive rebound machine. But I just don't think he's gonna be. He'll have dry spells, and then he'll have games where he does play 28 minutes. He just disappears. Like, I don't feel safe about it. But if you want to stream him, I don't hate it because there's no.
Yeah, no, I've been streaming a decent amount, especially these past couple of games you've been playing solid minutes. I didn't do that. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't. And I do think too, like, I think when you look at guys like Lauri specifically, but just in general, you just kind of think about like, especially when you're trading 2 players, it's like even if you think you're doing a 2-for-1 for the better player and you're upgrading, it's like how many fantasy points are you like this sounds stupid, but like how many fantasy points are you going to lose, throughout the entire season by the guy you have to play instead of Murray or DeRozan? Because those guys are like top 3 round, top 4 points league round guys. So I think it's tough.
Double overtime as well.
Yes,
so it's gonna inflate all their stats and their value. But that's funny. Javon Carter's going off. It's sick.
Yeah, I do love seeing those games when like a ton of like starters are out and you just got like guys like Carter that just have a 30 bomb out of nowhere.
Yeah, we'll never see this usage again.
Yeah,
it's just funny.
That's a beautiful thing about basketball though, man. It doesn't happen as much with like just the way that stars are in the usage, but sometimes, especially when guys are out, just a guy's hot for the night. It's a beautiful game.
It's all about depth.
Okay, I guess that game's going on right now, so I don't have it pulled up. I did want to pull that up.
Yeah, no, it's going into double overtime right now.
Yeah. Do you think Val should be a sell high? I'm kind of worried about his minutes. Yeah, we've been like the heading into the season low on Val guys. I'll pull up that game here
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, Pelicans, I think they just in general have been struggling a little bit. They started off kind of hot. I think they were like 4-2 or 5-2 or something. And then they've lost, I think, 4 of the last 5, including this last one. Did they end up losing to the Bulls? No, they beat them. Wow, never mind. They were down. Um, but yeah, they've been a little rocky this last week. Valanciunas, I don't hate him. I don't think he's going to be like what he was last year without Zion, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Zion has his nights where he has a lot of boards, specifically like offensive rebounds he can take away from Valanciunas, and then
Yeah.
points wise he can clog up the lane with him. So I think there's room for them both to exist stats wise, but I wouldn't expect Valanciunas to be what you saw at the end of last season or in the playoffs against like the Suns.
And some of these matchups too, like the Bulls that are just better spots for Val offensively too, because I think night in and night out, you really expect if there's going to be 3 players that have 19 plus, it's going to be Bi, Zion, and CJ. So I think it's just one of those where like he feels like the odd man out. So it depends obviously on what you can get for him. I don't think he's you have to get off of him. He's not going to be anywhere close to this. But I do think that overall season long, I would expect him to be a little bit worse than he's been in some of these games.
Yeah, and another thing that like this gets brought up a lot is selling high. Like after a game like today, 21-13, it's like kind of a sell high. For in most circumstances, your league mates shouldn't see him as like a sell, like as like a coveted asset after one. Ideally, it's like you get a nice 2 to 3 game stretch, and then I would say it's a sell high. But then he had like a 13-17 game, then he had a 14-7 game, down there, and then back up to 21-13. Like he's been up, down, up, down, up, down. So he's on the up swing, but I don't know if it's like, to me, a sell high is more than one game. Do you agree to that? I don't know. If
yeah. I mean, I think it's I think we try to get too cute with like labeling a lot of this stuff because obviously every league is different, right? There's some people that tell me, "Hey, no trades ever happen in my league season long, so I just have to roll with what I got and work the waivers." And there's some people that are like, "Yeah, I mean, every single week, you're heading into Sunday and there's trade offers happening." So I think it kind of depends and what you feel like. If it's a little more casual league, if people are box score watchers or something, like those are kind of like the people that you kind of target for these. But I think it's tough because I think we do try to get too cute with like, is this guy a blah blah blah, is he a sell high, is he a buy low? It's like a lot of times it's just kind of like what people's perception of value is, and that's kind of what we're trying to label. But
I guess for me, it's just because, like, if I were being the recipient of that trade, so I was like, hey, do you want Jonas? Like, he's been popping off, or like, do you value this guy? And I like look at what he's done. It's like, okay, he had like, he's coming up one good game. I'm not like sold on that.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, give me 2 games at least. But yeah, it's just very, very fluid.
Yeah. Should I trade? What's up, Omar? Should I trade Porzingis and Jalen Suggs for Rudy Gobert? Man, Rudy Gobert. I don't think Gobert is the biggest upgrade from Porzingis. I actually kind of like Porzingis. Would you take the Gobert side?
I don't think so. My only thinking is like if Orlando becomes healthy in a couple months and then they have Cole back, and Fultz back, and Gary Harris and Terrence Ross.
I do like what I've seen from Suggs. Based off of what I expected from him this season, but I don't think he's going to be like a breakout or anything.
Right. I think he'll still be fine with all those guards back, but my only concern is like, obviously you take Gobert, I take Gobert over KP. And then, down the line, if these guys come back and Suggs is all of a sudden like a streamable type player, then you just, you took Gobert for KP and then you can stream the second guy like Suggs would be. But
yeah, they're pretty close. They're pretty close right now. I guess like the one thing, and I don't know if you can like really, really point to it, but I mean, we haven't had to deal with like Porzingis injuries kind of yet as much this season. So I guess that's kind of like another.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a deciding factor. I don't think I think that's a pretty decently fair trade overall, depending on how you feel about everybody. I don't think it's like a smash either side.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I feel like the consistency that Gobert can give you night in, night out is something that you're not going to find
Yeah, that's true.
KP and sucks. It's like
I
you
think it's
just know
one
you're
of
getting
those
done
like
for.
fantasy points per game at the end of the season. KP is probably going to edge him, but I feel like night in and night out, you do get a higher floor with what Gobert does.
Yeah, I think that is a good trade. It's a tough one. I think right now it's better to have KP and sucks. I think down end of year maybe. I don't know. That's a good trade. Yeah.
Dang, Kanan's gonna rack his brain. Let's just devote the whole rest of the stream to this trade.
We're gonna break this down. Let's go back
Let's
to
show me the box
let's look
scores.
let's look at Gobert and KP overseas for the last couple of years.
Speaking
actually.
of trades with Gobert, though, how bad does that Gobert trade look for Minnesota right now?
Yeah, it was a big package they gave up.
And then Utah right now, looking like they're selling the farm to tank, and they're actually just winning these games. It is so crazy. And that's kind of why I'll say, like, I don't think tanking is as crazy of a thing in the NBA as people think. Like, I know that there's kind of sketchy situations in sports organizations where people are like, what about this stuff where, like, NFL coaches were paid to tank and blah, 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 all this thing. But I think, like, heading into the season, like, they want to win games for the most part. Like, even, like, Pop, right? I mean, the Spurs right now, look at what they're at, taking Memphis to OT and all the games they've won against really solid teams. And Pop was, like, probably looked like they were tanking the most because he literally was like, yeah, don't bet on us to win the championship or anything. Yeah. So I think people tend to react to that kind of stuff.
And that's also why they have like the lottery in place, right? Is to kind of avoid tanking. So you can be the first team, but not the first pick. So what do we have up next here? Do you think what's up, boys? Should I trade Keldon Johnson, Ayton, and a third round pick for Allen, Giddey, and a sixth? No. Not at all. Am I reading that right?
So he's saying Ayton. I know he's saying Ayton's been super disappointing so far. Man, I know he feels like a Spurs merchant, but I really like Keldon, man.
I do too. I like Keldon. Keldon and Giddey are actually pretty close for me. I think Keldon and Giddey are pretty close.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, look at Keldon's numbers right now. I know it feels like the opportunity and situation. And then Ayton. I know you're saying Ayton's been super disappointing so far, but he had a pretty bad. He's having a pretty bad game right now, right?
Yeah, yes. But he's playing against Gobert, so.
Yeah, that's Ayton he can't.
But he is having a bad season. But like he's coming off a bad stretch, like 2 Portland games. Who again? I feel like I always talk about Nurkic.
He's just a dog.
I do think Nurkic is a bully down low. Defensively, he's a bully, and then you have Embiid, and then you have Gobert. It's a tough stretch.
And then you've got the Ayton ankle injury too. That I know like makes you feel lower. But I just feel like long term, and obviously this is some sort of a keeper dynasty league with the 3rd round and 6th round. Yeah, I think long term, I like Ayton. I don't want to try to move him just because he's having a tough start.
Yeah, I'm looking at it more. Don't worry about it. He had a good game against Nurkic, and then the second game, 16 minutes in a blowout game. And then you go to Philly against Embiid, 14-7 foul trouble. And then you have this, Gobert game 9-6. Like, I can point at things that are pretty obvious of like, okay, I understand this. And then you have the matchups like against Golden State where he should dominate, and he does. So I'm not too worried about it. It is a slow start. It's frustrating. Like, it's a slow start. You expect him to be better, especially in games without Chris Paul. You expect him to have better usage as well. But
I think too, like with it being a kind of like a dynasty keeper setup, like I mean, obviously all of these guys are so young, right? Like you're not moving any like older age players, which does matter less in the NBA. I will say players tend to play later, like compared to other fantasy sports, but. Yeah, I mean, you're moving you could be moving the 3 best pieces. And I like Giddey, but I mean, from a production standpoint this season, like I think Keldon probably is really close, if not has the opportunity at least to have the edge. And then Ayton versus Jared Allen. I like Jared Allen, but I do think Ayton probably is going to be better. And then a 3rd round pick for the 6th. So I think it's like, I don't think you're smash winning any of those. And I think you could even argue you're losing all those. Yeah. So.
I think if you could flip those picks around, then we'd have a discussion. I think the 3rd round to the 6th round pick for me is
it's on the wrong side. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it was close-ish. I was like, maybe lean Ayton still, but with a 3rd and 6th, I'm like, heck no.
Yeah, but I totally get. I mean, Ayton has been disappointing. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and say like, oh yeah. I mean,
Right.
it feels like a spot where he should be smashing, right? You talk about, just what the Suns team looks like, and
Yeah.
Chris Paul where he's
No,
at,
like
but
the-
yeah,
yeah.
I like Ayton. He's 24, man.
Yeah.
He's 24. I mean, all those
Are
guys are young, but
Porzingis and Claxton good bigs? On your fantasy team, they're good. Yeah,
I
I
like
think
Porzingis.
Porzingis is good. Claxton's been really nice too, very nice. Had a hot start to the season. He's getting good minutes as well. Like he literally is. I think he might literally be their only center on their depth chart. Like Daron Sharp is like technically a center, I believe, but he's pretty undersized for a center. And I think Claxton is just going to be pretty, in the right matchups as well. He's been solid. He's going to get minutes no matter what. Like they need a center out there, he's going to be there. I saw them actually. They ran a lot of small ball today. They
Yeah,
only had 20 minutes. They had Ben Simmons at the 5 for like a lot of the game. And man, I was rooting Ben Simmons on. I'm sick of all the memes. I was rooting
dude,
for
they
him.
just
He had some good plays
destroyed the
too.
Knicks.
Yeah, he had some good plays. He was hustling on the glass, making some good passes.
Oh
No, for real though,
no.
like he's
Yeah,
playing at the 5, so he's guarding Hartenstein. He's getting
yeah,
in there. He's making deflections. He's getting stats or defensive stats.
yeah.
He's crashing the offensive glass
It's
and
kind of the
kicking
perfect. It is the perfect kind of spot for them to play small, right, against a Knicks team that doesn't have Robinson healthy,
right,
and it's
right.
Hartenstein is the 5 for the most part, and they'll play a little Obi. I mean, they were
They had a
playing
lot of
some
Jericho
Obi
Sims too.
Obi at the 5. Yeah,
And Jericho Sims, yeah.
right.
But no, I like Claxton. I think depending on you probably drafted semi late. Like he wasn't a super high
Oh
value. So I
yeah,
think
he was.
where
Yeah,
you drafted him, he's like a nice 12-10 guy. With high block upside, and then same with KP is good
yeah. It's
big.
a pretty loaded question to like refer to Claxton as a good big for fantasy, but I think compared to where people expected him to be, I think he's
Right.
pretty good.
I think he's exceeded his ADP so far.
ATP. What's ATP?
ADP.
If you had to
ADP is
make
that
something up.
security. ATP is that security thing.
Oh, it is.
I think so. I think it's like a
I think it's
security.
ADT is what you're thinking of.
Oh, is it ADT? The little blue
Yeah,
ADT.
you look
It
that
is
up. I'll go back to the
ADT.
chat. Hey guys, I got offered Anthony Edwards for my Maxi and John
Oh,
Collins.
ATP is a tennis tournament.
Okay,
Sorry.
nice. All right, Ant for Maxi and John Collins, which is extra juicy with the amount of time Harden is gonna miss. Um, oh man,
Ant
this is like the
John
battle of
Collins.
like the two guys I like so much. I love Ant and Maxi. Um, is this okay? Is this one of those? How deep is the league and how bad are your starters compared to John Collins? Is that the deciding factor for you in this trade?
I don't love John Collins.
I don't either, and I think that's
Um,
why I'm asking. So from my perspective, I'm saying if John Collins is like 10 team league, oh, I think I'm doing that in a 10 team league. I think 10
and
and 8
team
team
league,
leagues,
yeah,
I think you really usually waivers are better. Usually your bench is pretty good. So like the
yeah,
replacement level, when we talk about replacement level in fantasy, it's these 2-for-1 trades. Who are you playing instead of the second player? So who are you playing instead of Collins? Picking up Bol. Yeah, and I assume your bench is pretty good too. Yeah, I would do that. I like Ant. I think Ant's worth that trade to upgrade to. You agree? We both love
yeah,
Maxi too, but
yeah,
I think Ant's worth the upgrade.
yeah.
Traded Lauri and Ant for KD. Thoughts?
Mm,
I
that's
think that's the same. I think I'm in the same deal because these are like three guys I like, but I do think it's one of those. If it is
great.
a,
Oh, high.
it is. It really is. I think. Is it different for you?
I think yeah, I like it. I like getting
I do
Katie.
too. I think if the whole thing about like, oh, is it an 8 team? Is it a 10? I think that matters less in this one. I think I'm probably taking the KD side, even though I like Ant and Laurie. Oh, it's tough. It's so tough. I don't know if I would have the balls. Oh,
I think mm, I think I take Katie. 10 team league, yeah, 100% I do it. Katie.
yeah. Okay. That makes me feel better about it.
Kyle Lowry good for bench and fantasy. 12-team league. I think I'm warming up to him.
Yeah. No, I mean,
He's
he's
been a
just
lot
kind
better
of,
recently.
yeah, too. And I think Lowry's one of those guys where, like, I mean, most benches and waivers in like 12 team and higher leagues are not like consistent, lock it in starter minute guys. So,
Yeah, I like grabbing Kyle Lowry at 12-team
yeah,
too.
I'll take
You
KD.
guys think?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think I do take KD. I think if it
you
was
guys,
like a 14 team league or something and it was like, yeah, it's tough. I'm going to be like playing the waivers to like,
right,
I
right.
think that's one of those where you're like, maybe
Yeah.
I stick with the two, but nah,
Ten
dude.
team is big
And
time.
KD right now, like it isn't even like where KD was drafted. I mean, KD in these games without Kyrie, like I know you're not going to expect 29, 12, and 12. Wouldn't shock me if he's like a 30 point, you know,
Yeah, like
15
38,
total
6.
peripheral guy. Like
Right,
that's what
right.
KD does in these games without two other stars.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It helped that
Um,
Edmund Sumner was just lights out. He had some just ridiculous shots that went in. He couldn't miss today.
yeah,
And
3 for
I think
4,
I think
7 for
KD
10.
had like several assists. But
Yeah.
yeah, like some shots. But yeah, I think he'll be a high assist guy, specifically without Kyrie. And then
Mhm.
obviously the points and rebounds will just trip into some solid points.
Yeah.
So
You,
he's
you guys think Royce O'Neal is a sell high candidate or can he be a consistent role player for the whole year? Um,
probably so high.
I think yeah. I mean, if you're using the phrase like sell high, like I feel like you're assuming you can get like pretty good return for Royce O'Neal. I think the one kind of like saving grace is he's kind of just like a Mikal Bridges Jr., right? Like he's also going to play 34 minutes for this team, 34, 35 minutes for this team and just have solid minutes. But like the stat lines are going to look a lot like they look today, you know,
Yeah.
6, it's going to be like 8, 7, and 4, or whatever, 6 and 4.
Yeah.
Um,
Just what players will be
so
better than Lowry?
yeah, I think
Uh,
if you
a
can let
lot.
us know like your top, maybe you just filter by roster percentage or something. If you could just read off or just list out like a couple names, I think that gives us a better feel for like who would be available instead of Lowry. Because I'm gonna be honest, Katie and I are in a league together, and I've got Lowry as probably the player. It's like a 12-team cat. It's probably the player I would drop if I was going to like make moves, and I just like haven't been able to bring myself to do it. Like he's right on the edge of like, okay, he kind of fits what I'm doing, so I'll keep him. Do you guys think Kyrie's coming back? Traded Ingram and Jalen Green. I will say there has been some positive reports, right? I think he had like a meeting. Didn't he have a meeting with Silver or something?
They gave him new stipulations of what to kind of what criteria to meet to be reinstated.
Yeah.
I know that. It's literally this isn't like. Unfortunately, it's beyond basketball at this point. It's just what the human Kyrie Irving, decides to do, where his head is at, because it's just up to him. Like, how does he want to handle the situation in its totality, and how does he want to react, and how does he want to come to terms with the organization?
Yeah.
It's like it's just not an injury thing, right? So it's just so up in the air. I'm not banking personally.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's so tough too because it's one of those where like it would not shock stun me. I know you guys have probably been baited by those people that post like Kyrie Irving announces his retirement. Like my brain for a second reads that, knows it's fake, but goes, this
it's
might be a
coming.
message we see like in 2 weeks. But no, what did
I know.
he had a
Do you think it's like I?
fingers
It's just a
one
mismatch.
of the here's what we got latest on Kyrie, the finger, the like fingers crossed emoji and the infinity symbol. That's the last tweet we got. If that gives you anything.
It doesn't at all. Peace forever. Like,
If that's Pistons, I would that could be no way that's Pistons Bogdanovich on waivers. It's probably Bogdan.
oh, I thought you were like decoding that tweet into a Pistons thing, and I was like, dude, what are
Oh
you
no,
doing?
sorry.
This is so
I'm
random.
sorry. I'm reading players on my waivers in my league. So this is instead of Kyle Lowry, Karis LeVert, John Wall, Bull, and then you say Boyan, but I I don't think he'd be on waivers. If that is, I would rather have him.
Yeah.
Than Lauri.
I mean, it's the other one's Bogdan. So if it's Hawks, it's Bogdan.
Yeah, I just would be surprised that if in any league after the kind of game start that Bogey's had that he's still on waivers, but yeah, I would rather have him than Lauri if that's.
Yeah, I'd rather have Bojan as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a smash, but I just personally would rather have him.
I'd rather have Lauri over John Wall.
Yeah, I think I'd probably have Lauri over
probably too. Just consistently, like he's just gonna start.
Do you guys think Charlotte is holding LaMelo return back because they're tanking? Is ankle injury? It has been a lot longer than was anticipated, but I believe he was ruled
like a late scratch.
Wasn't there something? I could totally be misreading this, but I thought there was like a different injury report label for a recent game.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. By the way, sorry if I'm asking dumb questions, but it's my second year playing basketball. Oh, dude, don't worry about it.
No, you're totally
fine. You're not. There's no dumb question. Seriously.
And I will say, so like I talked about this a little bit. I really don't believe that teams tank on purpose, super intentionally, where they're like, we're going to do everything we can to lose these games. But I do think that players, that if the situation is kind of like a Charlotte, right, where you're not really in a great situation to compete this year, I think we've seen it in the past with teams like OKC last season with Shea. I could see a similar thing with LaMelo right now, where it's kind of like they are going to take it. You know, maybe it's a week and a half longer than you would anticipate. But once again, we're not big like injury analyst experts. So, but I will say that all the reports I had heard, I thought he was going to be playing by now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're just probably babying him, taking the time.
Like I mean, he's their future. I mean, that's
right. They're not trying to lose. No one goes out there to say, "Hey, let's lose this game." But it's like you said, it's more of like we're not in a rush to bring him back.
Yeah.
They're borderline playing team. So.
Yeah, and two, like, I mean, 3-9 or whatever. Are they 3-9 right now?
I think
3-8.
They have 4 wins.
Yeah, 3 or 4 wins. Yeah. I mean, like 3-9 is not like a season's over kind of thing. I mean, NBA season's crazy long. Yeah, so I don't think teams are. Right, yeah. Playing Pistons.
3-9 means nothing, man.
All right, let's do it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Let's talk about the Pistons. Tough game. This was probably the worst game of Cade's career, or at least close to what he was in some of those games at the beginning of his rookie season. It just, he could not get it going.
Yeah.
Don't overreact if you are a Cade manager and someone's trying to flip like Lauri plus or something for him. Cade will be fine. This is just one of those games. Against a good team. Like I know the Pistons put up 112, but Cade played 23 minutes and just couldn't get anything going when he was playing. So don't overreact.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were one of the best defenses in the league last season, specifically at the guard position. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Brogdon. You just have unlimited people that are elite defenders and one-on-one defenders against Cade. So it's not a shock they had a bad game. It's just annoying that it was that bad of a game. But
yeah,
pack it up, move on.
Yeah, and nice to see. I mean, Jaden Ivey, I think he's one of those. I think the biggest things people talk about is we've seen some of these games where his shooting splits, like some poor 3-point shooting games, because a lot of people will be like, hey, he's not a great 3-point shooter, and it was a little bit of a mirage, these good shooting games. But dude, he has been so good from a peripheral standpoint, specifically rebounding too, in some of these assist games where I did not expect that from him heading into the season. I think we kind of pegged him, and season long, he might turn out this way, but I think we kind of pegged him as like he might be a 15, 16 point guy who is like a 3-and-3, 3 boards, 3 assists, something like that. Because, his vision, or whatever you can kind of call to as far as like from a passing standpoint, was one of the things that, at Purdue that wasn't like the best aspect of his game. And Casey's talked about how good he's been in that. So yeah, I love it. I love Ivy. That was just my little spiel about I love Jaden Ivey.
He had like 7 rebounds in I think the first 5 minutes.
He's just like, he's one of those like guys where it's like the antithesis of Jeremy Grant from a rebounding standpoint.
Yeah, it's just he's a ball magnet. He just wants to be around the ball.
He just wants the Pistons to win.
He does, man. He wants Detroit to win. I love it so much.
Keep up the good work. Appreciate it. I think I saw. Wait. I think the person that dropped me out of my league did that because of the last 3 games. Yeah, he definitely has had some like fall back down to earth, but he's still like, even with like some of these good Saddiq Bey games, like it's just gonna be what Saddiq has done, right? So I mean, look at Bogey tonight, 17, 2 and 1. Like, yeah, that's kind of what you expect from him in 26 minutes, but he's probably just gonna be like a 19-point guy with decent peripherals, which should not be on the waivers in most leagues. What the hell do I do with Wood? Yo, what's up?
That's funny.
I
agree. You hold him.
Yeah, no, yeah, you can't drop him.
No.
Does it make sense to you that he just doesn't, like, we haven't seen him play like 30 minutes? Like, do you think season end he's going to be closer to 28 than 24?
I think he'll be around 26 to 28. Yeah, it makes sense to me because the guys that start, like DFS and Powell or like Kleber getting minutes, like these are the
Reggie
guys
Bullock.
that not only have been there for a while, but Kleber, Powell, and DFS, they hustle more and they play more defensive. It just comes down to that.
Yeah.
Christian Wood defensively is not great. Yeah, he can stretch the floor. He's great offensively. He's a big body. He should be better defensively. He's just not. Yeah. And Powell and Kleber are just effort guys. And they love that, and it's brought them success. And so it's not a shock to me that they win those.
Yeah, dude, Kid is like, I don't need points. That's what Luka does. That's Luka's job.
Yeah, Luka's got 54.
You know who's also good at shooting wide open threes? Like everyone else on the Mavs roster. So he doesn't need Christian Wood to do that.
Right, exactly. Like it's nice, for certain matchups, but like when it comes down to like these tougher games or tight games, it's like they just can't afford to have Christian Wood out there defensively.
And it's so tough too, because it just like, from just like an NBA basketball standpoint, you just look at it and offensively it's like, dude, he can just do so much more than like all the other guys on the floor like that are playing over him, right? But in the same world, it's just like, there's a little more give and take because of what the Mavs do offensively, right? It just all runs through Luka. So it's not super impactful for a guy like Christian Wood all the time. But I do agree. I think, I don't know. I'm not calling the shots. So you kind of, for fantasy specifically, you kind of just have to take what the coaches are telling you. And I think Kid has just told us that Christian Wood's just going to play 26 minutes, 25, 24. So I wouldn't like buy him low with the expectation that that'll change heading into the season. But I still think, even in these like 24, 25 minute games, like he gets you solid scoring and really solid rebounding numbers, right? So he's not a drop because he had a bad game and he was out with a knee injury. Yeah, definitely not.
Yep.
Cool. Anything else on the Pistons we want to talk about? I think the big kind of takeaways are just one of those awful Cade games.
It's a bad matchup too. The Celtics match up so well against us. Like their weakest spot is the 5 spot, and our weakest spot offensively is the 5 spot. So it's like they just match up really well against us, and it shows. And they're more talented right now. And
would you try to move? It's tough because it's not like Isaiah Stewart had like an amazing game. 12-10 and 1 with no defensive stats.
Yeah,
but is he a guy where you would try to move him for someone with more upside at kind of like the bottom end of a starter, maybe on some people's benches, just with the expectation of Bagley's going to be returning soon? Jalen Duren's going to be a heavy part of the rotation. He's already kind of shown that.
Yeah, I would definitely shop him. I think he's got some good value right now. He's been pretty consistently like flirting with double doubles, a little bit of defensive upside. So like I think he's a very high floor, very low ceiling. So yeah, I think if you want to shop for a high upside guy, then that is maybe underperforming right now. I think it's
Yeah,
a good
and
high
two,
value
I
trade.
think my thought process with that is just when Bagley comes back, like from a rotational standpoint, it's hard for me to believe that he eats massively into, you know, Cade, Bogey, Ivy, Bay minutes. Like I do kind of feel like it's going to be that. I think there will be, some kind of whatever those rotations break out to be, but yeah, I think it's going to be like Duran, Stu, and they will play a little bit together. I think there's been like talking conversations about if they're able to play together. But yeah, I think he's one of those guys where that kind of came to mind. Would you guys take Duran over Poku?
Uh, Probably not.
Yeah,
No.
it's really hard because I think Jalen Duran will have these like some of these massive games, but from like an offensive standpoint, I don't think we'll see consistency in that department, right? So it's like really hard to kind of talk about like he's a rookie and maybe later in the season, he's being able to push 14, 15 points. I just don't think that's like realistic.
Yeah, I agree.
I do like the minutes that we've seen from him in some of these games, but like I mentioned, Bagley's going to be coming back
Bagley.
too. That'll mess with that a decent amount. Um,
Yeah, he'll still be involved, but I think he's still like so raw. Um, that like I think his upside is like this year. I think like 12-10 is like a really good game from him. I don't think he does more, but I think Poku can be like can get you like 20 and 8 with like 2 steals and 2 blocks. Well, like I
yeah,
like Poku's upside a little bit more. I think they're both pretty going to be pretty inconsistent as far as usage and minutes. So I
yeah,
think Poku's got a higher ceiling as far as fantasy production.
right. And I think he's like exciting, but I think when you just look at what he's done, there's just not a world where, in my mind, he has remotely the same upside as a lot of or questions we've gotten, like a Poku, right? Like night in
Yeah.
and night out, Poku's going to have more upside than Jalen Duren does, even though he does have, the block upside. He's can have these crazy rebounding games because we've kind of seen it in limited minutes. But yeah, I don't think the upside's there as much. I love him. I love him. I'm happy
I
he's
do
on my
too.
team.
I do too.
That could have been Mark Williams. All right, we can. I don't know if. Let's just do. I just want to say it. Good game from Killian.
Yeah.
Finally had a good one.
Yeah, a meaningless
This
game.
one, this one will keep him in the rotation for the rest of the season. I will say that, and I don't know if this is like worth a long conversation, but I mean Casey's been he's been very vocal about we are not winning a championship. We're not fighting for a top playoff seed this year. Like he's very confident of where the team is at, and it's a development thing. Because I know he's been asked about Killian specifically, and I don't need to devote more than 2 minutes to Killian Hayes. He doesn't deserve it. But yeah, I just from a expectation standpoint, even with how bad he's been, he's still going to see these kind of like 18, 20-minute rotations.
Yeah.
All right, anything on the Celtics side? Just your classic Tatum and Brown both had monster games. Love to see it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I prefaced it before we even got into any of the certain games. Like, this was probably the most, expected result. Um, and besides the
Yeah.
Cade blunder, I think like the total score was pretty expected, and like Tatum and Brown having solid games makes sense. Cade having an awful game wasn't really expected. Jaden Ivey kind of picked up for that a little bit, but no, on the Celtics side, I mean,
I
no,
think
nothing
the
crazy.
one thing I do want to shout out, I know Brogdon had left with a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
I don't know the severity. I know it was labeled as like hamstring tightness, but that's probably just kind of worth a note. That's probably honestly the biggest note takeaway from this game.
Yeah.
Should I pick up Poku from waivers points league? It's pretty like if you're dropping somebody, I'd be curious. Yeah, appreciate that, Paprika. Yeah, I think like any kind of question of like if somebody should be picked up, it's pretty relative to like who you are dropping, or if you're just kind of like have an open spot. He's probably, I would imagine, in most kind of 12-team leagues, he's kind of like the higher end of like available on waivers. Depending on how deep the league is.
Yeah.
All right. What game you want to go to next? I'll let you pick.
Let's go to Houston, Toronto.
We can kick it off with the Houston side. We have a Jabari Smith sighting. Not the biggest bust of all time.
No.
Yeah.
Not just doing what he should have been doing, most of the year against a good defensive team. Siakam, but still like if you are holding Jabari Smith, which you should.
Yes. Like do not drop Jabari Smith. If anyone's done that, sure. spend your fab to get him back. Just because like that's I feel like I tweet this every other week, but rookie starts in the NBA are a lot closer to what Jabari's done than what Banchero's done. What Banchero is doing is like unprecedented rookie numbers. Like it's insane. So when people see these monster games from Ben Mathurin and Jaden Ivey and Banchero, they look at Jabari and they're like, this guy sucks. Like, get him off my league. I'll go pick up Kyle Lowry. And it's kind of like, man, Jabari, I get it, but like the minutes are there and it's tough because I love him as a prospect. We watched the draft together. I thought he was going to be the number 1 overall pick. And a lot of that was like reports that we had heard. But I still think he's like a top 5 rookie talent. So I do still believe in the talent. He just looks a little lost. And that happens, right? It's a common thing for players to take some time to adjust to the league. So I think he's one of those guys who looks lost, but I still believe in the talent.
Yeah.
And a 15-10, not amazing. But if Jabari Smith is shooting 8 threes and is playing 30-plus minutes, like that's not a guy you drop ever,
Right.
My boy KPJ thinks he's John Stockton. I love KPJ.
Yeah, I do too. I love him so much. He's solid. He's going to be very good this year. The assists are just going up, up, and up. No defensive stats even. It's like a kind of an anomaly for him. I think he can get a couple steals easily. Poor shooting night, but just still finds his way to 11 assists.
Yeah.
Jalen Green, efficient, not a ton of shooting.
A really solid game.
Good peripherals, and then Tari Eason getting some minutes, getting a lot off as well. So he'll be a guy I definitely keep an eye on moving forward.
I think so. He's one of those guys who I think like deserves playing time, but it's so tough, right? Because if you like when this team is healthy, it's like Tari Eason, and then it's like Jayshawn Tate. They were playing. Fernando was starting right over Sengun. Like,
they're very deep.
Yeah, and they're still gonna play. Like Gordon's still gonna play a ton of minutes. It's tough. It's tough because I really do like the talent of Eason, but I think it's going to be tough long term for him to have the opportunity to play like 25+ minutes.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I like him a lot, but he's not going to be able to see high minutes consistently because again, it's another team that's very deep and they're not even fully healthy yet, so they could go 12 deep as well, 12, 13 deep. They have several different rotations. It's just I want to see him play more. If he can get like 25 minutes consistently, I'm definitely grabbing him, but I just don't think he can right now.
Right. Yeah. There's just it's tough because there's no world where he's going to outplay Jabari, like from a minutes perspective. And then if they're, committing to Sengun starting, and then it's like they just have shown a tendency to play Gordon big minutes. And he's not been bad or anything, but. And then it's obviously KPJ and Jalen Green are going to get there. So it's just really tough to find that slot, especially with how deep they kind of are and how willing they are to play guys like Fernando. And need Brown to have down in the second half. Let's go. Can we just talk about the LeBron is washed like conversation and narrative? It's just like I get the like the true shooting percentage and everything compared to Westbrook and all the stuff people are doing in like this first stretch, like he's still going to be like a 25 6-6 guy, like at worst, which is just like, it's so funny that that's like wash LeBron.
Yeah.
But hey, watch LeBron was bad Luka today, so take that for what it's worth. All right, we can go to the Toronto side, which I think is a little more interesting, just with what we've seen with no Siakam in some of these minutes. I know we were talking about it before the show. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, it's a little frustrating because I think Precious and Boucher are in a really good position to get more minutes and be more effective, and they have in like a game or two. Like
Yeah.
the last 2 or 3 games, though, it's been really low minutes. It's been really unfortunate. And it looks like the Raptors are just really content with playing small ball and playing Barnes at the 5 or Thad Young at the 5 or something like that. So I, I don't want to give up on, Achua or Boucher as a streamer in the future, but it's kind of frustrating what I'm seeing right now with
It's
them
tough to
wanting to
trust, right? Like
Yeah.
as far as like options are concerned, like I think all signs point to those guys should be good streamers, but it's like, I mean, what is it? 3-4 straight games of like, I know we get these kind of like 28-30 minute games from these guys occasionally, but it's like 3-4 straight games of just like minutes you just don't want to be playing NBA fantasy players for.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if it's a matchup thing that like Nick Nurse is doing just for the certain teams they've been playing.
Yeah,
In
like I will
smaller
say, like Houston, right? You can look at some of these games. Houston, not like no like dominant big.
Yeah, I get it. But Bulls is a little more shocking.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess like you could still go
Mavs
small
makes
and outrun Vooch and Drummond because they don't have an athletic 5. So
mhm.
maybe you like force them to run the court more. I don't know. So we'll see.
Right, and it is so funny too that like both Precious and Boucher both played like 25-30 minutes in that Mavs game, and that's one of those where you're like
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if they kept it small.
Right, and that was a game where Siakam still played like
Right.
over 20 minutes, did he not? Like he
Yeah.
played a lot of that
Yeah,
game
because I
still.
was
So
yeah.
I don't
I was
know.
at
I
it.
don't. It's weird. It's something to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those like they're at some point, like if you have a similar option where you feel more confident in the consistency, you just have to go there. So I know they like felt like really, really good kind of streaming options, but I think if you have a similar tiered option that you feel safer about, I think you just go there just because it's hard to trust what that looks like. For Van Vliet has his classic 7 for 16 3-point game. Just crazy volume. Man, I'm so sad Siakam's hurt. Dude, what a
Yeah,
what a
he
start
was
to the
having like
season.
an MVP type. He was so good, but yeah,
How
I mean
about OG?
Raptors. Yeah, I mean OG is just a beast, dude. The steals are unbelievable. He's averaging like 3 steals a game right now. Um, yeah, he was hot from 3 to start. He got in foul trouble to start the game too, and still just put up great numbers. Stayed out of foul trouble clearly. He had like 2 fouls in the first 5 minutes, but didn't
Mm-hmm.
really deter him defensively. So I really like OG. Van Vliet's going to be inconsistent, but this is a Van Vliet game that you draft him for. Trent a little disappointing, but
Yeah.
as far as like the starters go, minutes wise, it's what we expect. Trent only played 19. I don't know if no, he didn't play. I'm 30.
He did. He
Um,
did. I know he had 4 fouls, but
no,
I don't know
he played
if
30 minutes. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong. Yeah, I don't have much to comment with starters because that's kind of it's pretty standard from
yeah, I don't
what I've
think
seen.
there's too much to
Like Trent not shooting a lot is like I think that's just a nod to Van Vliet's hot hand. So
right, yeah. I mean, 26 shots and then OG obviously. Who can I
yeah,
realistically get for Kawhi for? I'm stuck with him. I was 18-2 last year and 1 and now 0-3. Yeah, it's tough. I think if you can turn Kawhi's name, I like at what point are you like trading Kawhi for? Is it any top 50 player? Is it even lower than that?
uh,
I am legitimately worried long term. Like I do think that I don't think I think it might I think it may take a month or two before you get the Kawhi you expect to get through this season heading into the draft.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't even know if you want to play this game because I think this game sucks to play, but Kawhi or Lauri?
I know.
Kawhi or Cade?
I don't Cade.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
Lauri's right behind Cade. Fantasy points per game.
I'm trying to take this from like a macro perspective and think where you drafted him, how long you've been holding him, and he's been out. Is it still too early to let him go after, or is it the right time?
Are you hitting me? Are you hitting the chat with a sunk cost fallacy right now?
No.
Kawhi's value right now. I don't care how long you've held on to him. It's we don't try to make up for previous mistakes. We do what's best for the team moving forward. Okay. Sorry, we're gonna finish with
tell that to the Clippers.
Okay.
Yeah, true. You lost my.
I stole it. I hijacked just to say an accounting term I remember from college.
Accounting.
Yeah, sunk cost.
That's an accounting term.
Sunk cost. Yeah.
No. I think of that.
That's like the foundation. I think you're 0 for 2 on like knowing things today on the stream. We should keep track.
No. That was like in like logic class in high school. I had a logic class. It's fallacies, so that's why.
Okay, yeah. All right, that's fine. We'll take this off stream. All right, we're gonna wrap up so we can. No, we can. I do think we'll close that soon. I know we're coming up on an hour here. But yeah, I know Max, you're talking about surely, a guy around 33 average per game. I guess from I assume that's just like a fantasy points per game standpoint.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, would you rather have Julius Randle than Kawhi?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
And then I think you start getting into like Tyrese Maxey or how about Zach LaVine, another guy who's going to have a lot of injury management stuff.
Right. No, it's not. I'm not going to.
Yeah. So I think you get to the zone where I would be like, okay, that's fine. Like you traded Kawhi for this guy. Like I get it. I think it's kind of like Julius Randle, KPJ. Would you rather have KPJ than Kawhi?
No. I like it a lot.
I know. I think it's tough, right? Because I think you're kind of splitting hairs, but it's like KPJ scoring points right now.
In my head, yeah. So is Jalen Green. In my head,
had a better game than him tonight. But go ahead.
In my head, what was I just gonna say? In my head, it's so hard for me to believe that like Kawhi is just not playing basketball in December even. Like he is healthy.
Oh.
He's healthy.
Okay, no. Sorry, the question's changed. We have forfeits each week for whoever loses. I had to go busking for 4 hours. Okay, the answer has changed. It is now whatever top 50 points per game guy you like.
Yeah, then yeah, you definitely get rid of him. That is awesome though. We should start implementing
every week.
Should we implement that?
The NBA season's long, man.
I don't want people pay attention. It'd be fun.
Yeah, we'll just do like $1 for the highest scorer or whatever.
However many fantasy points you lost by is how many
push-ups
minutes you have to be at a Waffle House.
Hours. I'll never get these like awful punishments where it's like I get some of the funny ones, but when it's like you have to like sit in a cage naked and we like pour
you with eggs and
on you
flour,
yeah. It's like, you guys is that fun?
What's wrong? Like you need new friends. Yeah. You have a weird friend
group. This is just like agreed bullying.
I mean, keep doing it because it's funny to watch on TikTok and Twitter. But like,
maybe I shouldn't have said naked.
You can't say
like
that
a
word
or something.
Yeah.
All right. Any last second questions? I know we usually run through a lot of these games, but Daddy's tired.
It's 11:30 Eastern time.
But I will say, shout out to the Spectrum guy. Stream was perfect tonight. I appreciate you if you're watching.
You
out
are
there.
setting this
I
up.
know you're not an NBA guy. I could tell. No offense.
Who?
The Spectrum guy.
Gotcha.
He doesn't watch ball. But no. We're gonna be back tomorrow. What was that? You just miss a bet? The answer is yes.
I mean, no, I hit everyone that I did today.
I think we'll be back. The cage is on our list. So far, we've had my busking, hair dye, and beer mile. Jeez. What is
oh my god!
What is like
dude?
mid-season?
Someone is like,
it's like
someone's gonna have
quit
a
your
breakdown.
job.
Yeah, someone's gonna have a mental breakdown halfway through the season.
Break up with your girlfriend. What the? Why?
Yeah, someone at the end of the year has to like.
They have to like
so crazy.
Abandon their family.
Oh my gosh!
Tell their grandma they never loved them.
What's wrong with you?
It's not even funny anymore. All right, this league sounds amazing. Yeah, something like that.
It does.
That'd be stressful,
I'll take an invite.
man.
Take an invite next year.
I don't know, man. I gotta.
I like living on the edge.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Break your leg. Sweet. Yeah, I'm getting delirious right now.
$100 fine if you refuse to do the forfeit. Oof.
My gosh, is the forfeits like just a communal agreement, or is it like, nah, man, each team just brings a forfeit to the table and you have to do it, or it's $100? I don't know. Actually, I would do all those. I wouldn't pay. Would you pay $100 to not do any of those?
Nah, I'd do it.
Yeah, I would do it. I would do the beer mile for free. Fun.
You do the beer mile. Just that's Canyon Saturday.
Not anymore.
Minus the mile. Do you like that one?
That was good.
All right.
That was good.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Much love. Oh, real quick. I've been benching Aaron Gordon. Check my head. Beat Jokic, KD. Oh, Booker. Hey, that's a solid core. Jokic, KD, and Book.
And D-Book.
Damn.
Oh, KD and D-Book are going to be playing.
Yeah, Gordon's one of those guys where you're gonna be like, oh man, I've been benching him. I need to play him. And you're gonna be like, I can't believe I played him. I'm gonna bench him again.
Yeah, he's gonna be all over the place.
Yeah,
definitely a starter, but
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it depends on what you got. But all right, appreciate you guys. Much love. We're peacing out.
Yes.
See you in the next one.